Well, welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by Advanced Auto Parts. Well, with the incredibly relevant help of my friend, the transmission jack, I'm able to support this front axle and get this final point in the vehicle all buttoned up. The new spring is tall. We told you about that. So with the transmission jack, I'm able to support it and then back it down to where I need it, so I'm not fighting this coil spring too awfully bad. We got the shock disconnected, the tie rod disconnected, everything's floating, the control arms aren't connected yet, so that I can work with this, not fight it too awfully bad. So, here's a bump stop that came with the TerraFlex kit. They give you great directions on where to drill right here at the seat of the spring. It's got a self-tapping bolt, and you put the bump stop in, it'll make contact here when you're off-road and you're really articulating a lot. Here's a tip, put it in from the bottom, work it right up in here. You can't get it in after the fact. And now, you gotta index that spring. With a little bit of encouragement, it's going to spin right around. We're indexed right at the top. She sets right down in. Now you got to hit this groove. Make sure you're indexed properly. And then I'm going to come back and tighten that bump stop in. I'll get a couple turns right here, and we're good. I'm going to jack it up and support it. And we're on our way. Really coming together nicely. So I'm going to get the shock reconnected, get the tie rod reconnected, both control arms buttoned up. We're almost there. Now, this is the cream of the crop for suspension lift kits. The TerraFlex Elite 4-inch lift, but there's a lot of ways to lift your vehicle. John's got more about that.
Now there are different ways to lift a truck and or lower a truck. If you have a short long arm suspension system, you can put a spring in there. Bigger spring lifts it up. Shorter spring lowers it down. You can drop a spindle, that'll change it as well. If you have a strut suspension system like this one behind us, you can get a bigger strut or a smaller strut. This is pretty cool. Rancho actually has a leveling strut. Well, what's that all about? The new Chevy trucks. They're up in the back, put this one in the front, be perfectly level. Great product, great way to raise the front of a Chevy truck or GMC. Brian, how's it coming over there?
All right, the last couple turns here on the bump stop. Remember, this was a self-threading bolt. Want to pull it down, get it snug. No need to over-tighten and break anything. One final inspection. The spring is sitting exactly where it's supposed to be. It's indexed. I got the tie rod connected back up. It's torqued down. We're finally ready for some control arms. Now, this is where the TerraFlex engineering really shows up. So, the top upper control arm here calls for 27 3/4 from center to center of that bracket. That's how long that bar's got to be. So with the tape, we got really, really close. I put it up there, set the bolt in, lined right up, drifted right in. Similarly, down here on the bottom, here's this beastie lower control arm. The Zerk fitting's down here where we'll have access to it once it's mounted. There's a second hole up here, depending on your application, that you could put it. But there's a plug in there, so no contamination is going to get down in there. Just good design. Love it, all the way through and through. So this calls for 33 9/16. Again, I pre-measured it. Let's see how close we are. Roll it up in, get the mounting bolt right here. Give this axle a little encouragement with a little lean, and she goes right in. So I'll keep buttoning this up. I'll get it torqued down. One final thing I want to show you. I've been talking about great engineering this whole time. Here's the sway bar link. I've got it rotated up. Remember, John showed you how it disconnects and slides up? Well, I think for our test drive, we're going to leave this off. We roll it up, get past that mount. This slides right on. You put a little safety pin through there, just like on your Reese trailer hitch, and you're good to go. You're safe for off-road. So we're finally done. All four corners buttoned up. Going to go re-torque everything. We're ready for those nasty rugged ridge wheels. I can't wait to get this thing on the trail. Now, torque specs are everything, especially as it relates to wheels. John's got more.
Well, when putting your wheel on, there's really only two options to torquing your lug nuts. You can do it like Brian did with a torque wrench, set it to a specific torque, pull down on it till it clicks, and you're there. You can also use these torque limiting adapters, and in our industry, we call them torque sticks, and you can see two of them right here. They're like giant torsion bars, and what happens, you can go ahead and use your impact gun, put them in here, and you can hit them, and when you hit them, it's gonna flex. You can see this one's a lot thinner than this one. Well, this one's gonna flex a lot quicker than this one will, so this torque here is gonna be a lot less than that one would when you're putting it together. Also, check out this graphic. It's important that you use the right sequence depending on your lug pattern. Go in a star pattern across from side to side to side and make sure you torque it equally and look up your specification. That's critical. Well, I hear Brian's torque wrench clicking away and the Jeep sitting high. Looks good.
Look at those nasty rims with the bead lockers and the BF Goodrich all-terrains. This thing really is a beast. The JK is no joke anymore, and there's so much capability underneath, I feel really good about it. Well, one final lug nut to torque. All right, so we've torqued and retorqued all the way around. This thing's looking awesome. I don't know about you, but I love it.
I love it too. Yeah, the work was worth it. Look at it. I mean, it pays off. But you know, it only makes sense at this point. You know, Warren sent us this beautiful bumper right here.
That's awesome.
You see the actual custom work right there
Yeah,
that
it's
Eddie
awesome.
Williams did? Phenomenal. But you know what? It's going to house, even more importantly, this new VR12.
Yep.
But the key here is VR12S. S is for synthetic, and it's synthetic rope in here. 3/8 diameter, 90 feet of that rope. You're not going to have a problem with this joker.
You can do anything you want to do. And I'll tell you what, there's actually better tensile strength and better kinetic pulls with a synthetic spool like that. Less wear and tear on the drum and the bearings. It's a win-win. It's an awesome winch.
Yep, I'm going to head over to Bernie's. We're going to check them out at the speed shop. We'll be back with more Tech Garage right after the break. Brian, we need to get this joker in.
Let's do it.